welcome to your April 27th edition of
Tools at Tea Time
On Tuesdays.
with Flip and Flop and Tea Monkey. Woohoo!
All right, that's like tea with a friend, except sometimes we go a little bananas. Okay, so we're going to check in with everybody. We thought we'd have a moment of inspiration, and our moment of inspiration here at the beginning comes from a 2016 commencement speech that was for, I believe it was for Harvard. And it's a spoken word poetry segment, which insists on participation. So feel free to snap or clap or throw up your hands or whatever, whenever something in the speech resonates with you. Here we go.
Class of 2016, this is your address and this is your day. Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is a great equalizer of the conditions of men. Horace Mann, 1848. At the time of his remarks, I couldn't read, I couldn't write. Any attempt to do so, punishable by death. For generations, we have known of knowledge's infinite power, yet somehow we have never questioned the keeper of the keys, the guardians of information. Unfortunately, I've seen more dividing and conquering in this order of operations, a heinous miscalculation of reality. For some, the only difference between a classroom and a plantation is time. How many times must we be made to feel like quotas, like tokens and coined phrases, diversity, inclusion? There are days I feel like one, like only, a lonely blossom in a briar patch of broken promises, but hey, I've always been a thorn in the side of injustice, disruptive, talkative, a distraction with a passion that transcends the confines of my own consciousness, beyond your curriculum, beyond your standards. I stand here, a manifestation of love and pain with veins pumping revolution. I am the strange fruit that grew too ripe for the poplar tree. I am a dream act, dream deferred, incarnate, and a movement, an amalgam of memories America would care to forget. My past alone won't allow me to sit still, so my body, like my mind, cannot be contained. As educators, rather than raising your voices over the rustling of our chains, take them off, uncuff us, unencumbered by the lumbering weight of poverty and privilege, policy and ignorance. I was in the 7th grade when Ms. Parker told me, "Donovan, we could put all of your excess energy to good use." And she introduced me to the sound of my own voice. She gave me a stage, a platform. She told me that our stories are the ladders that make it easier for us to touch the stars. So climb and grab them. Keep climbing, grab them. Spill your emotions in the Big Dipper and pour out your soul. Light up the world with your luminous allure. To educate requires Galileo-like patience. Today, when I look my students in the eyes, all I see are constellations. If you take the time to connect the dots, you can plot the true shape of their genius shining in their darkest hour. I look each of my students in the eyes and see the same light that aligned Orion's belt in the pyramids of Giza. I see the same twinkle that guided Harriet to freedom. I see them. Beneath their mask and their mischief exists an authentic frustration and enslavement to your standardized assessments. At the core, none of us were meant to be common. We were born to be comets, darting across space and time, leaving our mark as we crash into everything. A crater is a reminder that something amazing happened right here, an indelible impact that shook up the world. Are we not astronomers searching for the next shooting star? I teach in hopes of turning content into rocket ships, tribulations into telescopes, so a child can see their true potential from right where they stand. And injustice is telling them they are stars without acknowledging the night that surrounds them. Injustice is telling them education is the key while you continue to change the locks. Education is no equalizer. Rather, it is the sleep that precedes the American dream. So wake up, lift your voices until you've patched every hole in a child's broken sky. Wake up, every child, so they know of their celestial potential. I've been the black hole in a classroom for far too long, absorbing everything without allowing my light to escape, but those days are done. I belong among the stars, and so do you. And so do they. Together, we can inspire galaxies of greatness for generations to come. So no, sky is not the limit. It is only the beginning. Lift off.
So it's May, and I hope we're all thinking about our vocation as educators and how the sky can be, the sky's the limit. That is the real work is to take away limits. Okay, so let's go ahead and you're on, Nana.
Yes, wow. I feel like I shouldn't speak right now, but I have to. So we are looking down at our Tea Time Road and see what this week's theme is going to be.
Yeah, and our email this week comes in from our imaginary fan base. It says, "Dear Tim and Anna, it is almost May and I am worn out from so much new this year. Do you have any creative ideas about how I can repurpose something that I'm already doing in order to re-energize my students and myself? Signed, the Energizer Bunny, who, like you teachers, just keeps going and going and going." All right. So, Anna, go ahead.
Yes, so this week's theme is using breakout rooms or work groups in new ways. And Tim's going to introduce us to our special guest.
Yeah, it's my great honor today to introduce our special guest, Connor Saller. He's been teaching for 8.5 years, and to give the idea of what a hero he is, he got told that he got a permanent job 8.5 years ago on a Friday in January, and that he was going to start teaching his own class on Monday, and he's never looked back. So he has real excitement about student curiosity, excitement that I think he'll show you today. He prides himself in the value that he places on building relationship with his students. And he has learned that it is possible to have fun in the classroom while doing rigorous activities. He's going to talk to us today about the tool of the week, which is virtual escape rooms. And so without any further ado, everybody use those reaction buttons or your real fingers and give Connor a warm tea time welcome. Hi, Connor, welcome.
Hello, everybody, and once again, thank you so much for having me. And Tim, I didn't know you're such a good hype man, so I appreciate the hype, Tim. I really do. We're going to kind of look at 3 components today in terms of escape rooms. First is just kind of like how to make it, how to start it, how to start it, how to make it, and kind of what students explore and kind of like what students discover as well. Before we do though, I kind of want to describe why I began doing escape rooms. This was like September, so the video you're about to see was like my very first escape room. And I was just very unsuccessful with kind of like engagement in breakout rooms with like my inquiry, guided notes activities. Like I needed like a spark. I was trying to like think through the lens of a student, like why they would want to share with their peers. And I kind of always liked the idea of like, not necessarily competitiveness, but like a challenge, right? That students can buy into, whether it's teacher-led or whatever your content is. And that's kind of why I tried it. I had really good success with it the first time around. I've probably done about 6 to 8 breakout rooms since then with my high schoolers and my middle schoolers. So today you guys are going to check out kind of one of my first ones I did with my middle schoolers. I'm a science teacher, so this one will be kind of focused on like states of matter and phase change. But don't let the kind of format make you think that you can't do it across all contents, because you can do it for any content, any subject you want. All right. So the first step in kind of making a escape room is kind of choosing some kind of theme. Now I'm a really goofy, kind of silly guy sometimes that, tries to, be vulnerable enough to be silly with my middle schoolers, especially. So you can see that in this video. And Tim, if you go ahead and kind of play this video, this is the introduction of the escape room lesson.
Okay, here we go.
What? Where is it? 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 No, 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 no.
What are you looking for?
No. My Bitmoji. My Bitmoji. I can't find it. I can't teach without my Bitmoji. No, 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 no. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Ha! Baby, baby. No. 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 Ah. Oh, a note. What does it say? Hello, Mr. Saller. I have decided to take on my childhood dream of becoming an astronaut. I have decided to take my rocket ship into space and explore the solar system. It will be the role of your students to find out where I am in our solar system. Good thing DCIS chemistry students know how to take action and both investigate not only the world, but investigate our universe too. I've left several clues and situations to help find me. Sincerely, your Bitmoji. My Bitmoji's in space? Fascinating. Well, let's go ahead and find our Bitmoji in space, y'all. This should be fun.
Connor, one thing I love is that you're probably the only teacher that wasn't a head in a box this year. Anyway.
No doubt. So I choose to make videos, but you don't have to, right? I know videos take a long time and like we're all kind of strapped for time. But you can do like a theme, like I just did one last week that was like, you know, Lord of the Rings theme where the fellowship is at the mines of Moria and they need a password. Okay, you can do something really easy and you can connect it with your curriculum. And that's the fun part for me. Like I love being creative like that. Like think of like hypothetical scenarios that you can give to your students to just have that little bit of buy-in that might be silly, but with like middle schoolers, it works really well. And even high schoolers really like that stuff too. So I would say choose a theme that sparks curiosity with your students. You guys know your students, you know. You can do like a current event. You can do some kind of connection with your content, whether it's like a book or whether it's a, you know, phenomenon you're researching. So make that connection happen. So second step, y'all, is kind of how to make an escape room. There are two main parts to an escape room. The Google Slides that every breakout room is going to receive. And also the kind of Google form that provides clues when with like correct codes are entered with that as well. So before I put students into breakout rooms, I'll just go over some real quick expectations with them. And these are more, I think that's the right one. Present screen, sweet.
Yep, we can see it.
All right, beautiful. And 8th grade, welcome to my Bitmoji classroom. And as you guys can see, my Bitmoji is gone after the introduction. So it's in its spaceship, went somewhere. But I'll go over some quick kind of guidelines. And I will give you guys just about 1 to 2 minutes to just kind of read those over. Take things you like, ditch what you don't like, and just kind of read through this. But this is what I'll show the students before I put them into breakout rooms.
Hello, interpreter 5.91.
And Connor, is this available on the Google Drive at the end of the program?
Oh yeah, Tim, I totally spaced. I'll be putting all this stuff at the Google Drive at the end. So absolutely.
Thanks. That's great. Can we steal it?
Of course, steal everything. All right, y'all. And for the sake of time, we're gonna go ahead and move on, y'all. So once I show them this kind of part, I won't give them the the escape room yet. I have them when I go from breakout room to breakout room, have them type in what the rules are, just to make sure that there's like a presenter, a reader, and Google Form is really the most important part. You can also do it where you just have like one person leading the whole kind of escape room and really just encourage that collaboration with your kind of breakout room peers. All right. So that's good. Let's escape out of you. All right. Next up, y'all, let's go ahead and I'm gonna send you guys what it looks like in terms of the students. So what the student's gonna receive. Here we go. So in the chat, if y'all can go ahead and open up, hold up. Zoom is fun.
I know, Connor. Sorry, I know you're not on Zoom every day.
It's all right. All right. Chat. Here we go. Okay, to everyone. If y'all can go ahead and open up that Google Slides. And this is what I'll kind of send the students, and I'll kind of go over the just first kind of parts with y'all. So just that intro slide, right? Welcome to Find Mr. Saller's Bitmoji Escape Room, Matter and Phase Change Edition. So in this particular one, 8th graders were exploring phase changes and states of matter. And here's our first kind of puzzle in the lockbox below. This is where they'll enter in several different codes in the form of numbers, letters, or words to unlock each puzzle. So the students, when you click on that form, this is what they will see. So this first puzzle, right? Enter in the correct states of matter each GIF diagram represents for the first puzzle. So they go to the first puzzle and they're collaborating and they're using their knowledge. If this is something maybe like as a formative kind of experience where you want to get to know what they know, or you can do this as like a review or maybe even like mid-unit just to kind of like confirm, you know, phenomenon recognition. So students in this point is where they kind of collaborate and they share in the chat or they unmute their microphone, you know, like, hey, like I got diagrams 1 and 2 right. What'd you guys think about the third one? And that's where you see some really good collaboration going. And I like to start off the first puzzle as like a confidence booster, right? So we see liquid, they'll type liquid, they'll type gas, and then they'll type solid for those 3 puzzles. And what's cool is when you guys type in something that is incorrect, right? So if I say gas for the first one, and I say solid for the second one, it says try again. And it kind of lets them know if they got it correct or incorrect. And what's cool is they're not allowed to go to the next section until they type in all the correct responses into the Google form, and then they can hit next. And then here we go. Congratulations, you have opened the first space lockbox. Here's your clue. Mr. Saller's Bitmoji traveled to the Earth's sister planet, but realized it was too hot and inhabitable due to runaway greenhouse effect. He decided to take his spaceship in the other direction past the asteroid belt. You may attempt puzzle 2 and go on to the next section. This is where students would then, your presenter, be like, oh, cool, we're on to puzzle 2 right there, okay? So that one was like the example of like typing in a word. This particular one is kind of the puzzle part where you kind of like to leave it open sometimes, but you are more than okay to give them hints from like breakout room to breakout room. And I'll go over that here in just a little bit. And you'll see the kind of little hint or clue. In this particular one, there are certain pictures that have arrows next to them, and they have to determine if it's a solid, liquid, or gas. And just like you would read a book, so you start at the top left corner, go left to right, drop a line, left to right. Each arrow represents an S, an L, or a G. And then there's 10 total arrows, so it's 10 total letters that make the kind of code. And that's kind of why it's an escape room, is because of these codes that make it just a little more complex or a little more kind of rigorous for students to collaborate, keep trying attempts, and work together to get those codes. Okay, so now that you've seen kind of how it works in this particular one, I did 4 total puzzles. So the next puzzle, they look at 6 videos. Each video represents a phase change, and there's a code or a number that connects with it. And then the last puzzle, I think I did something with like the actual phase change. So they type in melting, or they type in freezing, or they type in condensing via the like GIF kind of diagrams here. So that's kind of how you make your escape room for the slides. And then for the actual Google form part, this part is probably the most important part. So this is kind of what the teacher is looking at. So this is the teacher's made kind of Google form. If you haven't made Google Forms, it's just a way that students can enter in responses. But Google Forms is really cool because of this function right here. In whatever section you may do, so say like the first section, where is Mr. Saller's Bitmoji? Diagram number 1 represents the blank state of matter, okay? there is a little thing down here where it's the required. I think we might be used to that. But these 3 dots right here have an option that say response validation. And this response validation means that they have to type in the right word, the right number, or the right code in order for them to go to the next section. So once you have the correct code, the correct words, the correct, only then can they then go to section number 2. For example, they went to Venus, right? And then they can do puzzle number 2. Once they do puzzle number 2, oh, apparently I'm being pulled in by Jupiter. My Bitmoji spaceship is now going towards Jupiter. See if we can pick up any signals. And then once they have the 4th puzzle, we've contacted the spaceship. It sees that's actually around Saturn and one of the moons of Saturn. And then finally, once they've completed all of their puzzles, they get to the very last section. And here's where I say, congratulations, y'all. Your team has found Mr. Saller's Bitmoji on the moon of Titan. And what's really cool about this is if you know the 8th grade curriculum, Titan, the moon, is actually one of the phenomenons they have to explore. So I just love those connections you can do with like the clues, or if it's something that's like a class culture kind of thing that you visit and revisit in your classes, that's really cool too. And then it says, raise your hand in the Google Meet and tell Mr. Saller you found his Bitmoji. When students will raise their hand, I will go to kind of like their breakout room, and, you know, you kind of have to buy into it, right? Like, where was it? You know, and they're like, oh, it was on Titan in the Saturn moon. You're like, I knew it. You know, like Bitmoji's always like going into space and doing his thing or whatever. And that's where you can kind of like, you know, do your little, you know, fun relationship kind of thing, whatever it is with your students, to kind of conclude it. I'll give like extra credit. I've like mailed out soap, like homemade bars of soap to winners. So if you want to do like prizes, like first 2 teams to get it, that's cool. But I also want to say that, you know, it's okay if students don't complete the whole escape room. You know, I've had students just feel successful like getting that first puzzle, you know, because like in terms of the student pace, you're going to find it is different from room to room, depending on, you know, how differentiated your groups are, and just, you know, where your students are at. So even if they get 1 puzzle, 2 puzzles, you know, celebrate that, you know, and then give them another opportunity maybe in the future to keep working on it. Tim, I know that was a lot, but I think my time is up.
No, let's give him some clicks. Yeah, that was you. You did a great job. And the nuts and bolts, of course, take a little working out. But that was you used Google Forms, and you had to put in permissions for them to get it right to move on. Is that right? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, it's called response validation. I can show one more time, and oh, I'm so sorry. One of the more important parts too is when you do the response validation part, like on your question, right? So like this one, what's the 6-digit number for puzzle number 3? Oops, sorry, brought me down. Let's do this one. When you do the response validation and you click on it, you can do a number, a text. So if I do a number, you can go like, I want this number to be, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You do have to put try again in that custom error. Oops, sorry. Or else it does go and tells them the answer. So in that custom error field on the response validation, make sure you do put something, because it actually just tells them the answer. That's an important part as well.
Good to know. Wow, very creative. Did you see someone do this, or did you make it up?
I read about this online, and I was like, oh my God, the fact that they have to put in a specific code before going to the next section, I like fell in love with it right away. I was like, I know exactly kind of how I want to format this. And you can make it as rigorous as you want. You can make it as simple as you want. And like I said, you can do it across all points of your unit, or just even for fun too. Like I just did like a Halloween one, had nothing to do with school. It was just like kind of Halloween theme. So whatever it is y'all want to do. I'd love to answer any questions anyone has. I think that's the kind of next part, is the Q&A. Any of you guys have about escape rooms.
Cool. Yeah. So we'll have Q&A following the episode. If you want to stick around to ask him specific questions, Connor's been gracious enough to do that, but we want to give you time to talk to someone else. So we are going to move on down our tea time road to our community share out. And Anna, if you want to read that prompt out, I'll go ahead and get everybody sorted into breakout rooms.
Yes, Flip, I will do that. All
Thanks,
right.
Flop.
So when you get into your breakout rooms, here's something for you to talk about. Have you reworked any of the opportunities where students are working collaboratively to make those experiences more fun and satisfying? If so, do you have some examples or any new ideas that were stimulated by Connor's presentation?
Great. And so we're going to go ahead and send you to breakout groups. If you're in breakout group number 3, would you mind staying here in the main room? Don't accept the invitation because we want to record some of the breakout rooms for those who watch it later. All right, breakout room 3, you're welcome to ask Connor questions or just talk about the prompt. What ideas have you found for taking things you were already doing and just making them more fun and satisfying?
I'll go first. What I've done is I teach second grade right now at a STEM school, and we of course do phonics, which you have to like teach explicitly, which is like so much fun.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I have done the breakout rooms, been working on breakout rooms for every subject. So I decided for phonics for like plural nouns, I'll just throw them all in different breakout rooms. So like second graders, maybe 2 to 3 in a group. And their job is like you mentioned, the first thing you mentioned was like challenge and competition. And so today I'll put like We Are the Champions song on. And then right before we go into the breakout room, I'll be like, whoever can come up with the most plural nouns or, singular nouns, what we're working on. And then they get a prize. So whoever got the most, and they have to count them and then they have to read them once we come back full group. So I've used it, like you said, Connor, with like competition and fun.
What a fun idea. Yeah. And what age group is that, Danielle?
7.
7-year-olds. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That
there's
is
7.
yeah,
So it's been fun.
it's great.
It's been tragically tiresome, but it's fun. I'm online. So
Oh, yeah.
7
Are you online for the rest of the year or?
I've been on all year and a little bit of last year
Mm-hmm.
for second grade, which I do think is not conducive to learning K2 remote, but that's just a whole nother thing. But they're
Yeah,
learning a lot of great skills like collaboration,
that's great.
things like that.
Yeah. And enthusiasm for learning because they have you as their teacher.
Yeah, engagement. So thank you so much, Connor.
Well, and Connor, that was really cool what you presented. And some of the teachers at my school, they have Googled escape rooms. And you can find a whole slide deck that is already prepared. And if you are lucky, it will match what you're trying to teach, or you can make a copy and just do a little bit of, tweaking. And you got it. So that's something else to think about too. Just look at them, look for them online.
Absolutely. And I've definitely done some of that too. Like you pick and choose, copy, paste. Some of them are, some you like, some you don't. Absolutely. So I think it's important to kind of pick and choose what works for you in your classroom.
Great. Verna, Caitlin, spark any ideas for you or something you're doing or something you want to do?
It's actually a great reminder. I started helping out with student council this year. We actually used them at the beginning of the year to help our e-learning students feel connected to the school. We made a breakout room that was all about our school for our e-learners so that they could get used to and signed up for different places, because we actually have a Google Classroom that's set up for the entire 7th grade and then the entire 8th grade, because I'm also middle school, so that we can push out announcements through those classrooms to help keep all these different groups of students connected.
Great. Good. Well, it looks like we're back, and we just would like to thank you all. We've reached the end. We want to thank Connor Saller for being our special guest today. Thank you so much, Connor.
Yes, and join us next week. We want to thank you for spending this half hour with us. And next week is going to be a return by Robbie Mackley. She's a digital learning coach for 27J district. She's going to give us some really cool little Google tips, kind of like what Connor just told us about the little secret with the forms. You know that you're like, it's there, but you didn't know it was there. She's got a bunch of those to share with us.
Sounds like fun, Anna. Thanks for setting it up.
Yeah. And mark your calendars for 2 weeks from now when we will be having a 45-minute special edition of the program.
And in that program, you'll get a free sneak peek of one of the courses that we're offering this summer in our professional learning series, Explore Before Explain To. And you'll get a little taste of what that course is going to be like from nationally recognized educator and author Pat Brown. And are you looking forward to getting outdoors this summer? You might also want to check, and while earning relicensure credit, you might want to check out, we have a series of field seminars in July and August where you can go up to Rocky Mountain National Park, hang out all day in the forest and in the meadows with us and members of the Park Service, and learning cool stuff about the environment that can help support your kids and get credit all at the same time. So we hope you'll consider joining us for that. And be sure to take our very short Future of Tools at Tea Time survey when Ugo sends that out in the email this week. We're trying to decide if there will be a Tools at Tea Time next year or not, and we'd love to know what your thoughts are about that. So be sure to take that short survey when you get the link from Ugo this week. Connor's episode resources can be found in this folder, and we've pasted that link in the chat. And Anna, I stole your thunder.
That's all right. Well, I think we got it. If you really enjoyed today, and I'm sure you did, Connor did a great job. Tell your friends and tell them to come join us next week.
And if you're not sticking around for Q&A, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So nice to see all of your smiling faces. Some of you we haven't seen for a while. It's nice to see you. So Connor is here if people have questions and want to ask him questions. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you have a question.
So when you were making these escape rooms, how much prep time do you have to put into these?
Great question. The first time, Nolan, I did it quite a bit. I would say probably like a good hour and a half. But then you can really just make a copy of what you've already done with the forms and the slides as well. And I forgot to talk about this as well. There's also a lot of stuff online. So whatever your unit is, Google. Nolan, what do you teach?
Biology.
Let's go. So you could do natural selection, escape, right? And you're gonna find some really cool stuff out there. Some stuff you might like, some stuff you really not might like, or your students are just gonna be real lost with. So you can definitely find some stuff online. And then, like I said, once you make that first room, and your first form, then it's really just about kind of modifying your next one a little bit. But it's really rewarding, man. Like I said, the students really do collaborate. It's cool to go from breakout room to support students on a little more timely scale, right? You can slow down a little bit and really go over, say natural selection or adaptations, whatever it might be. But yeah, I would say that first puzzle, just to kind of get everything going and rocking, took me about an hour and a half. But then after that, probably down to half hour, 45 minutes, which is kind of normal plan time.
Connor, you'll have to get in touch. Do you guys know each other? Do you, Nolan, know each other?
What up, Nolan? I'm Connor.
Yeah, you both teach in DPS. And I was just thinking how, Nolan's episode about the Hip Hop Chess Club, I bet a chapter at your school, I bet kids would really go for it. You'll have to check that out with him. You can watch the video on our website, and I'm sure Nolan would be glad to tell you about it if you decided you want to start a chapter at your school.
Oh my gosh, I played chess about 12 to 15 times a day, man. So I'm
wow.
Man, that's awesome.
Definitely got to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, but can you hip hop?
I love hip hop.
You got the
That's still
guitar
to be
back there.
determined. TBD.
We got Kevin Marlett out there, the king of gamification. He did a whole episode for us on gamification. Bring up any ideas for you, Kevin?
Oh yeah, these are. I've been working on a whole nother project with a bunch of Google Slides that introduce gamification for exploring text, for alternative assessments, for gamifying your syllabus in the first part of class so that you don't have to stand there and get the boring lecture about rules. But yeah, definitely, I think that's an important strategy to be using with kids now.
Great.
Yes, and remote or in person, either way, I think you can benefit from doing this online, either way.
I was going to ask you that, Connor. Are your students mostly in person or are they mostly remote still?
Still mostly remote. If I did do an escape room where you did have like a hybrid, or sorry, yeah, like a hybrid model. And I did group my in-person students together so they can like collaborate a little more easily, and then, you know, do breakout rooms with virtual students. But I'll have anywhere from like 3 to like maximum 10 kids in a classroom that are in person. So I'd say like 75% are still virtual, would be my best estimate.
When they're virtual, do you require that they have their cameras on in their breakout rooms, or do you let them turn them off?
The only thing I really require is for them to be a presenter. Like someone has to be presenting the slides. So there's really, even if a kid's like a little confused that, you know, they might want to opt out a little bit, at least they're seeing the pattern and like seeing the chat and hearing the conversations as well. But like I said, students are actually really good about like unmuting their microphones in this as well, just because it's a lot easier for them to kind of discuss it compared to typing everything in the chat. I don't know if that's like an indirect effect of kind of escape rooms, but you just see kids unmute their microphones, which is great in my opinion, in terms of any of that kind of engagement. So, but no, I don't do unmute cameras. I'm cool with them just unmuting their mics.
I just wanted to tell you, it's brilliant to make your Bitmoji your alter ego.
Yes.
Have conversations with them and they have different adventures, and that is brilliant. You can really play with that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've also done some other kind of themes too, where like I was trying to do some karaoke in my classroom and like I lost my voice after I drank some water. I had like a wizard make me like disappear one time. And so like that part's pretty extra. And like, I think it's kind of ridiculousness that's you kind of get away with sometimes being a teacher. But yeah, I would love to get more ideas to like legit or like authentically engage kids with that, because a lot of it's like on me. Like I want something now a little more like classroom kind of based, right? Like we lost our something that we got to find, or I don't know. So that's what I'm still kind of looking for or exploring a little bit.
Connor, have you read Teach Like a Pirate?
No, I've seen it many times. It's like the ditch the textbook kind of same ideas.
Yeah,
right?
I think he ditched the textbook is a part of, you know, he has a bunch of stuff. You have to read it because you're going to identify with you're probably going to be like, okay, got this down. But, you know, if you need a little inspiration, you're right there with him. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you. I'll check it out. Thank you.
And Verna, I'm going to ask Ugo to send out the link to the game board you created for your students that you and your colleagues created in the follow-up email as well. I think that would be really helpful, especially to elementary school teachers who mostly have left right now, but I think that's great. And why does it not surprise us that Anna reads books like Teach Like a Pirate?
Well, yeah, our whole staff is reading it for summer learning this summer. So this episode might come in very handy.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I want to respect Connor's time. Does anybody have any last questions for Connor before we call it a night?
No question, just thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your questions, y'all. Take care of yourselves. Got like one more month of crushing it, and then let's go.
All right.
I want to shout out all your plants in your house, you know.
Oh, shit.
Right?
Yeah, wild style up in here, dude. Woo!
My goodness, that is incredible. I
Yeah.
couldn't stop looking at them on your video.
CO2 sponges. Just get as many as we can.
Yeah, I was thinking just how much that video built connection online between you and your students. They get to see you in your native habitat, you know, and you're more than just a head of thought.
Right. Thank you so
but-
much, Connor.
Yeah. Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, Verna. Thank you, Kevin, Caitlin, Tim, Anna.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. Have a
Thank you.
nice evening. Good to see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.